Alright, so first things first is we're going to drop down a geometry node in order to make our ground, or aka the riverbed that our river will actually flow through. In this lesson, we're going to make a pretty straight, literally straightforward by straight river. A straight river is a fast-flowing river. Lazy rivers, kind of go in an S shape, an S curve, because, as the water rounds a bend, it has to slow down to basically get over that. If the river was moving fast, it would overflow its banks. So rivers are kind of a feedback loop between, they carve out the area they flow through, but then, in the present time, their direction is the direction of the riverbed. So that all that is to say, we want to do a straight riverbed, which is a fast-moving riverbed. So here's a grid. Let's start by giving it some resolution that we can mess with. So I'm going to make this 40 by 40. I'm going to say, we can see the edges of it right now in the camera, so I'm just going to move that over, I don't know, just enough to make sure it's out of the way. Too many. So there you go, something like that. Let's give it just a little bit of something with the mountain. I certainly don't want to spend a lot of time in this lesson on making this because, honestly, this is about the river. We're not going to make a photorealistic environment at all. By no stretch of the imagination will this be photorealistic. This will be very abstract, actually, which I hope will mean that we just don't spend that much time on this. You probably, on your projects and stuff anyway, will be using some kind of environment that's being given to you anyway. Now, as this is going to become a collider, I'm going to use extrude volume here to make it into a thick thing. We can't collide against an infinitely thin plane like this. We have to make it into a thing that we can turn into a signed distance field later on. So, there that is. While we're here, I'm going to turn off, I press D in the viewport. I'm going to turn off this origin gnomon. I don't want to see that. And I also don't really want to see this grid anymore either. Cool. So there's our ground. Pretty great. Let's make a box. We're going to dig out. We're going to make like a box-like thing here, and we'll dig out a trough from it. So this box can be, pretty big, something like that. I guess we'll want to make it, I'm going to make it like 3 meters wide, and, oh, there we go. 3 meters wide, something like that. We should be doing this from the perspective of the camera, something like that. And let's see. I don't suppose that really matters. So that's enough for now to even just get started with our Boolean. So I'm going to drop a Boolean down. This, you might know from the Ridges lessons, will do fracturing for us. So I can say, literally, this operation here will be subtract. So I'm going to subtract this big thing we have from this thing. Or rather, this from this. So now we have a riverbed trough. Not looking too bad. We can tweak this, but I just essentially want to, center this trough in our camera here, which I think we're doing pretty well. So I'm going to say that's good. I'm going to go into selection mode here and press 4 to go into primitive selection mode. I want to click the top of this. Am I getting it? Yeah, I am. The top of the box, and then I'm going to press E to go into scale mode, and I'm just going to scale this to the side like this. Oh, select it here. I want to make it like just a little bit wider, just so we have a little bit of a riverbank kind of coming up on each side here. So that looks cool. This riverbank right now, or bed, is perfectly smooth. We're going to want to have some resolution on it because I want to perturb this box. Right now, if I were to take a mountain and put it here, no matter how much I do here, there's only 6 points on it, or 8 points on it. So I need to give this way more resolution so we can do our dirty work here. So to that point, put a divide down, turn off convex polygons, I don't care about that, but do turn on bricker polygons. This just basically, I always imagine there's like a bunch of lasers coming down from the top and a bunch of lasers shooting at it from the side. And it kind of just slices it up in world space. So you can see as we make this smaller and smaller, it will give us more and more resolution. I'm going to say Let's give it a lot of resolution, so 0.05 all around. And the mountain isn't doing a very good job with this. The mountain likes to move things based on the normals of our geometry. So going from this doesn't really do much for us because it pushes things through itself along the corner. So let's not use the mountain here. Let's instead use attribute noise. And the attribute noise will help us just do it in world space. So it won't matter what the normal is. It'll just say wherever the points are in space, we'll do something to it. So instead of modifying the color, let's modify the position. Let's center the noise so it doesn't move it. We want to keep it right there. I like to use, for these kinds of things, whirly cellular. Whirly cellular is pretty cool. It allows us to do kind of smudgy looking things like this. It looks like somebody took their finger in it and kind of pushed it around. So it gets bunched up in areas and wider in others. I just think it has more of a rock-like look to it. And probably the last thing we'll do here is it's very regular in all dimensions. Let's stretch it out in the direction of the river flow, like that. And let's do the opposite to kind of get like strata, you know. So all of this is going to come right down into the Boolean. As you can see, it's killing this. Most likely, it's because, you know, this is all bunched up and weird, which is, you know, what we wanted. So a nice little modeling trick we can do is, this will actually be the first time we use our little sign distance function stuff, even though it won't really be for anything simulation related. Just turn it into a volume. I'm going to do 0.05 here, and then convert it back into being polygons. That will kind of smooth out and make it in like nice geometry like this, and that should be fine now. So as you can see, totally fine. If we turn this off, it fails. Again, probably because of the self-intersecting geometry. So in any case, we have ourselves a riverbed. Looks cool. One last thing, I'll just throw some normals on here. We'll just keep the defaults, it's totally fine. And put an out node, and that's it. That's it for our riverbed.